نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Distinguished guests, respected community leaders, media representatives, and my dear brothers. Today we are gathered to observe 27th October as Black Day, marking the dark chapter of 1947. When India forcibly occupied Jammu and Kashmir.
Your Excellency, High Commissioner, it's sad to say that I'm going to reiterate the message that I've always said. The favored people of Kashmir is settling, is engaged. We are seeing that the second colony can be defeated, it's set in Palestine. The ice is rolling towards Jammu and Kashmir. So this is to remind the people of Jammu and Kashmir that we are with we pledge our solidarity towards them.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to invite Mr. Philip Makwala, Deputy Chairperson, EFF, Housing Province.
Thank you very much. Let me first greet my grandfather because he's my grandfather was one. And I'm very thankful for the invitation. Now, we are unfortunately the South African system in the old days used to put history as one of the subjects where we learn and understand what is happening beyond our borders. So with this topic today, as an organization, we take note of and as the gentleman has said, when we go back to our constituencies, we will be able to put the message across and we will debate and then have a standing point as an organization. But furthermore, simple to say that everywhere around the world, let humanity prevail. Let those that are oppressed be free from all those shackles that are holding and binding them. And we hope that as much as we are pushing forward with freeing Palestine, we are saying, and all those that are there oppressed, as we just had, we hope that one day they will get their freedom. Let humanity prevail. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your message. Now I would like to invite Mr. Peter Malongo, President, Tutu People's Party.
Okay. Oh, can you hear me? Good afternoon, or is it evening? My name is Peter Mhlongo, so I won't blame him for the pronunciation of my surname. It's Mhlongo, M-H-L-O-N-G-O. I'm from AK2 People's Party. We are non-racist, non-sexist, and we are a democratic political party that champions the people of South Africa. We are here to support the people of Kashmir and Jammu. We extend our invitation. We have been invited to come over. We are supposed to have a march in Pretoria, but now due to arrangements that were not proper, we couldn't. But in short, what I would like to say, let's come together and see how we're going to defeat this enemy. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's come together and see how we're going to defeat this enemy. You understand? India. We have plans, we have strategies to attack and see that, no, we can bring them down and then they can dance to our music. Support us. And EFF, Black political parties, You know, and you saw how we defeated whites. Support us, and then let's support Kashmir and Jammu. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to request Joseph Omotso, Chairperson ANC, Veteran League Northwest.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Joseph Omotso from ANC Veterans League Kashmir. I would like to greet the High Commissioner that we have been, I think it's my fourth year that I've been coming here. With this painful situation that they have. I know my former president, Nelson Mandela, supported the freedom. I think my leadership is painful when you see women and kids have been abused by India. I know we have a very good relationship with India, but I think that my government, it's high time to communicate with, to end this bad situation that is happening. I won't say much.
To give his remarks on this equation.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremony, Hassan Saab, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Fasabi bismi rabbikal a'la lazi, fasabi bismi rabbikal a'la lazi, fasabi bismi rabbikal a'la lazi. All the praises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator, the nourisher, the protector, and whatever between the heaven and the earth belong to him, and all the salutation go to his beloved Nabi Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Excellent Ambassador, parliamentarian, honorable councillors, diplomatic corps, defense attaches, doctors, ulama karam, huffaz, my dear brother and sister, my comrades, मेरे इस धरती के जवानों, मेरे शेर बबरों, सबको सलाम करता हूँ. सलमान खान सबको तहे दिल से सलाम कर रहे हैं. This is the meeting of revolutionaries. This is not the meeting to be sitting like a somber. Yes, it is a somber day. So let's start with the spirit. Amandla. 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 Away to. Now sound like this is a political or it is a spiritual gathering because we don't start without our slogan. So I'm sure that much has been spoken. The solidarity messages are coming from across, from South African, our indigenous people, our political parties. All the love has been expressed by my Pakistani fellows, from doctors, from engineers, from the dignitaries of each positions and each NGOs. The fact of the matter remains that we need to educate ourselves, as the brother from the EFF say. It is not that South African doesn't want to support. It is the fact that we failed as my embassy and as me and as our civil society, as a Pakistani community, we failed to engage enough and we failed to educate our people in South Africa. And I don't think so. There is not enough support. It is a lack of the information that we have not disseminated. So I think what I like to do for us to quickly understand in the context, in the less than a minute, I like to encapsulate the 78 history of Kashmir. Before the Indian Pakistan emerges, it used to be the one big empire and used to be belong to Ottoman Empire offshoot called Mughal Empire. There was a 65 small states, which comprises between the India, Pakistan, Bhutan, and you look at the Nepal, and you go all the way to Tashkent, and you go all the way to Afghanistan. That used to be the territorial small princely state. Then in 1858, some historians say, no, British come after that. Some people say it was like 1858. That's when the British arrived. they start disintegrating, they start colonizing, that the way they done it to the Africa. And then of course we have a four forces here. We have a French colony, we have a German colony, we had an Arab colony, but in Pakistan and India it was only the Portuguese and the British colony. Now, after the resistance, and the British find very difficult to keep their presence after the World War II because there was liquidating across. It was very expensive for them to maintain. They want to exit. And of course, the return of Mahatma Gandhi from South Africa after his political actualization, there was a Quit India campaign. Of course, Muhammad Ali Jinnah from Pakistan and many of the luminaries, those who joined from the Muslim League, to make sure that India get rid of the British. So there was many civil wars, there was many skirmishes, like we have in Point Susway, the blowing the towers. We had many resistance fights between the India. In 1930s, they start realizing they cannot hold on to the territory, so they need to exit. So they issue an Act of Indian Independence of 1935. They say, we're going to exit, but we want to divide this land. What they are good with it, divide and rule. So they said it's going to be the two nations. It's not going to be the Muslim going to continue to rule this place. We're going to divide into Indian or the Hindustan. There's no used to be India, Hindustan and Pakistan. Hindus will live in the Hindustan and Muslims will live in it. Now, there was another, within the act, there was another stipulation which says, within that we recognize there is a chamber of prince in their parliament which govern directly from the building all the princely state. They say these princely state will have a right to either accede with the India or Pakistan. If not, they can stay independent. So 565 of the Indian small princely state, they decided that we will decide whether we go India or Pakistan. Let's say 60 to 70% of peaceful incorporation. India took almost 97% of those independent states by force. I can give you the name: Hyderabad, Junagadh. Hyderabad was one of the biggest and the richest the state. They took it by the power. They forced from 27 different directions and they took it away the land of the people of the Hyderabad, Junagadh, Manwara, Kalapaki. I can give you one. Kashmir, because of the contiguity and the Muslim population was 90%, there was a war breakout between India and Pakistan, and because civil rights people stand up and say, we do not want it to be have the India. India landed by force, their forces on the 27th of October, exactly 2 o'clock, with the help of a British Maharaj, into the Srinagar, and from since day until today, they illegally occupied. The history has to be taught in South Africa. We need to detoxify the Indian narrative, which India says we have a legal right, we have an instrument of taxation. The instrument of taxation, I can put it out there, is a piece of a trash because it's been so much diluted, so many omissions, so many cut and crosses. No legal jurisdiction ever will accept that legal. When the war. Now, let me just also tell you, that Kashmir is not something very small. 86,000 kilometer radius, that's what the Kashmir is. 86,000 square kilometer, 3 times the size of a Great Britain, right? That is a size. 17 million Kashmiri, 14 million inside, 3 million is outside. It's a beautiful land. And your beautiful natural resources, more than what we have in Western Belt. So now that war break out, Nehru thought, we have British at our side, we have European at our side, let's take that to the United Nations. So they took it to the United Nations in 1948, and then they asked United Nations to say Pakistan must get out and we must take it over the Kashmir because we have the instrument of annexation. When the United Nations Security Council asked for the instrument of annexation, they look at it, they say this document is not a legal document. It has not been properly constituted, it's been done in omission. So India was given a task, and Pakistan, that you must pack your bag and move out from the territory because this territory belonged to the people of Kashmir. The resolution 47 of 1948, if you can go and read on Google, you see that India was given a task to hold free and fair plebiscite, which the people of Kashmir, until today, they're fighting for it. Over 100,000 people have been killed, 30,000 political prisoners, 10,000 women have been raped, maimed, and many have been, there is over 7,000 mass graves has been found. The life is not normal. Since 1947, the life is not normal. My dear brother and sister, you live in apartheid. You will be the few people who will understand the inspiration of the Kashmiri people. When you used to walk in the white area, you used to get shot dead after 5 o'clock. You was not allowed to move into the white area. But we have worse than that. The mothers cannot buy the baby formula. They have been locked in. The elders that die into the house because they cannot get the chronic medicine. there's a grave has been digged into the back of the garden of the each houses because Indian army does not allow a janaza or a funeral procession to go. They think it's a bomb. 3 kids cannot walk in a group going to the schools. Do you understand that? What we call it a UDR, which is Universal Declaration of the Human Rights 50 article, and then you have ICSPR. We have 40. Talk about a right to live. Simple thing: a right to live, right to pray, right to move, right to association, right for a political association, right of expression. None of them exist in India. None of them exist in India. Yes, we have a pain, we have a historical connection. We understand that India and Gandhi was here, and that's why there's a lot of respect for the Indian. And I think in this balancing act, I always say, the South African is being given too much of the respect. So one shoulder in South Africa, across the border, hold Mahatma Gandhi. On the side of the shoulder, on the left, we hold Nehru on the side, and to balance the body, we put the Guptas on the head. And I think that that need to be changed. We need to understand what we are asking today. What we are asking today, we need to ask for the solidarity. I have concluded 2 documents. One is for the President Cyril Ramaphosa to be, actually this is the petition which asks everybody to sign, and of course the resolution which is concluded at my seminar 2 days ago. We are asking for the solidarity. We are asking for the South African government to give us the same support as the people of Palestine. We're not asking anything else. So what we're asking them to give us a support and ask. Of course, it's not that not giving support. We managed to open 2 war crime cases from this very town in the Pretoria at the National Prosecuting Authority. The Modi is coming again. I'll ask on all of you, South African, Muslim, Pakistani, non-Pakistani, to please sign the petition and make sure that the war criminal should not be allowed. It shouldn't be allowed. If it wasn't good for South African, if it wasn't good for South African to be in the apartheid, why we think the people of Kashmir can be? Yes, maybe the Bollywood, the dancing girls can put a lot of, the barricade in front of us. But Modi is arriving on 21st into the Waterkloof airport. Let's go into the numbers. Let's go to the parliament. Let's go to the Pretoria. Let's go to the Nazareth. From Soweto to Srinagar and from the Gaza to Goguletu. Let's bring Modi down. Let's make sure we humiliate him. We show him that we have no respect for a war criminal and somebody who's oppressing the 14 million people. We're asking for the justice. India has to be asked by our diplomatic code that we must close our embassy. We must reduce or close our embassy in New Delhi and expel the minister as we have asked for Israel. Why not? We should do it as well. And India has been threatening. We had a 4 war. Pakistan has not grown to the full capacity because of an aggressive stance taken by India. They have eaten 3 or 4 times humble pie. Let them, as Dr. very much say, there will be no more India. There will be no more India. And I like to say that, our Field Marshal Asim Munir, I like to say one small couplet on his behalf. Zore Sharia se, शोरे दरिया से क्या रहा था, शोरे दरिया से क्या रहा था समंदर का सुकून, शोरे दरिया से क्या रहा था समंदर का सुकून, कि जिसमें जितना ज़र्फ है उतना ही वो खामोश है. So we need to make sure that we stand up with Pakistani, and we also urge Pakistanis as well as the South African local indigenous community to please come and embrace our liberation. Because the history is in writing. History is in writing. It was 27 years ago. You were writing your history. We're writing our history now. And it is a just cause. It is an international cause. It is accepted by the United Nations. If you go and look at the biggest and the longest debate in United Nations, it was on Kashmir. And it is mission. We're asking your solidarity. We're asking you to sign. And with that, all the calamity, doesn't matter how the India is strong with its population, with its economy, with its propaganda, nothing going to stop the liberation of Kashmir. The last couplet I like to share with you, it says, Noor-e Khuda hai, kufr ki halat pe khandazan. Noor-e Khuda hai, kufr ki halat pe khandazan. Bhookon se ye chirag bujhaya na jayega. फानूस बन के जिसकी हिफाजत हवा करे, फानूस बन के जिसकी हिफाजत हवा करे. मैं कहता हूँ पाकिस्तान है और कश्मीर है. फानूस बन के जिसकी हिफाजत हवा करे, वो शम्मा क्या बुझे जिसे रोशन खुदा करे। वाखिर दवाना अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह रब्बिल आलमीन। But you South African have taught us lot of toy, lot of freedom speeches, lot of songs. I'm going to teach you one. You need to learn because you need to be in solidarity with us. So I'm going to say something and you're going to lift your right hand and you're going to clap and you're going to say Azadi. What? Azadi. Okay. So I'm going to shout some slogan in Kashmiri and Urdu and you're going to lift your hand and say Azadi, mean liberation to the Kashmir. Hey, haq हमारा तुम्हें देनी पड़ेगी हम छीन के लेंगे hey, हक हमारा जरा जोर से बोलो तुम्हें देनी पड़ेगी बच्चों से पूछा तो हंस के बोले माओं से पूछा शफकत से बोली बापों से पूछा तो प्यार से बोले माओं से पूछा तो प्यार से बोली भाइयों से पूछा तो ललकार के बोले हमारा तुम्हें देनी पड़ेगी हम छीन के लेंगे मेरे कफन पे लिखना मेरी कब्र पे लिखना हम छीन के लेंगे आजादी तुम्हें देनी पड़ेगी आजादी हम देख के लेंगे इस पार तो हैगी उस पार भी लेंगे हम छीन के लेंगे हम छीन के लेंगे इंडिया पांजी साउथ अफ्रीका viva amandla amandla leto amandla azadi jazakallah khair assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you so much, Imam sir, for your passionate and inspiring remarks. Now I would like to invite Mr. Naeem Patel, ANC Ward Councillor for Lodium, for his remarks.
نحمد ونصلي على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before I start my speech, I want you to think of this question that I'm going to ask. Where is the outrage? Where are the protests, the marches, the rallies, the chants, the songs, the fundraising, the boycotts for the lives taken every day in Kashmir? Azadi, Azadi. Honorable High Commissioner, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Member of Parliament Imran Musa, members of the various political parties, doctors, friends, members of the Pakistan-South Africa Association, PASA, distinguished guests. Today, on this dark and historic day, the 27th of October, we do not merely gather in solidarity. We gather in protest. We gather in mourning. And we gather in fierce resistance to one of the longest running crimes against humanity in modern history, the occupation of Kashmir by the Republic of India. Let me say it clear, without fear, Kashmir is not India's. Kashmir belongs to the people of Kashmir. A 78-year injustice. Since October 1947, the Valley of Kashmir has known only broken promises, brutal occupation, and unbearable suffering. 78 years of lies, 78 years of blood, 78 years of tears. In 1940, promised the people of Jammu and Kashmir the right to self-determination through a free and fair plebiscite. That right has never been granted. Instead, India tightened its military grip, deploying over 900,000 troops, making Kashmir the most militarized zone on earth. Imagine this, 1 soldier for every 8 civilians. Is this solidarity or is this occupation? On the 5th of August 2019, in an act of constitutional betrayal, the Indian government under Narendra Modi unilaterally revoked Article 370, the clause that gave Jammu and Kashmir its special status within the Indian Constitution. This article granted autonomy, its own constitution, its own flag, and its own laws, excluding foreign affairs, defense, and communications. Along it stood Article 35A, which protected Kashmir's demographic identity, preventing outsiders from buying property or settling permanently. By revoking these articles, ladies and gentlemen, India has stripped Kashmir of its legal identity, wiped out its autonomy, and opened the floodgates of democratic invasion. This is not legislation. This is annexation. No consultation, no local content, no Kashmiri assembly, because it had been dissolved and silenced. Silence. What had taken place? Over 36 arrested or summoned for reporting the truth. Newspapers like Kashmir Times were shut down. Kashmir leaders were detained. Settlers were offered land and incentives to change Kashmir's Muslim majority character. The internet was shut down. Phones were silent. Schools were closed. A region of 13 million people turned in an open air prison. Doesn't this remind you of Gaza? Over 13,000 boys, some as young as 9, were dragged from their homes without trial. Since the 1990s, over 100,000 Kashmiris killed. Over 11,000 women raped. Over 6,000 mass graves discovered. Tens of thousands disappeared without trace. Entire villages live under the shadow of fear. This is not counter-terrorism. This is state terrorism. Remember Kunan Pushpara, 1991, where over 40 women were gang raped in a single night by the Indian Army. Thousands of Kashmiri mothers still search for their sons, their cries echoing into the silence of the world. Indifference. Is this the world's largest democracy, or a democracy for some and oppression for others? To the world powers, your silence is complicity. To the international media, your censorship is cowardice. To the Indian state, your occupation is illegal. Your crimes are documented and your lies will not stand the test of truth. We in South Africa know occupation. We know apartheid. We know injustice when we see. Just as we defeated apartheid, we now say free Kashmir. End the occupation now. Let the people decide. As a ward councillor in the Impatel, as the organizer, national organizer and spokesperson of the South African Friends of Palestine, as a South African, as a human being, as a servant of justice, I vow to raise my voice wherever I go. I vow to expose India's crimes wherever I stand. And I vow to honor the resilience of the Kashmiri people until the last soldier leaves, until the last mother finds her son, until freedom rings across valleys once more. Kashmir will never be forgotten. Surrender. From Pretoria to Pulwama, from Cape Town to Kupwara, Kashmir lives in our hearts. But brothers and sisters, solidarity is not enough. Today cannot be another talk shop. I said this 2 days ago at Brother Salman's function in Shenton. We don't need more photo opportunities. We need action. For 78 years, the world has watched. The blood still flows. The mothers still cry. So I say this to the United Nations, to world leaders and to the media. Shame on you. Shame on you for your silence. Shame on you for your inaction. Shame on you for letting tyranny go unchecked. What must be done? I call on the South Africa to lead the charge. Take India to the International Court of Justice for its war crimes and illegal occupation, just as we did to Israel. Demand the United Nations Commission of Inquiry across with access to Kashmir's mass grave and detention centers. Isolate India diplomatically until it respects international law in Kashmir. Ladies and gentlemen, we talk about the BDS movement, boycott, divestment. I was invited by the Indian High Commissioner last year in November for Kashmir to celebrate Diwali. And without even consulting the African National Congress leadership, I responded. I turned down the invitation, but I gave a reason to it. I said to the High Commissioner, unapologetically, I will not dine with those who support the genocide in Palestine. Ladies and gentlemen, it's easy to rub shoulders with diplomats. I mean, we as councillors, Imran will tell you this is our job every day, almost we're doing this. But sometimes we have to take a stand. One thing is boycotting Coca-Cola, one thing is boycotting Nestle. We need to take a stand and boycott Indian products, the Indian government. We need to launch boycott, sanctions, disinvestment campaigns, demand open access to journalists and humanitarian organizations. We need to amplify the voice of Kashmir in exile and on the ground. This is not not just a Kashmir issue, not a Muslim issue. This is a human issue. It's a test of our collective human conscience. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States has proposed Leo Brent Boswell III as its ambassador to South Africa. He said in his address to the House in the US that he will pressurize the South African government to withdraw its case against Israel in the ICJ. Furthermore, he has stated that he will request and force South African government to break ties with Russia, Iran, and China, calling them America's enemies. To this I say, your enemies are not our enemies. We will not be dictated to about who our friends are and who our foes are. As a councillor, I say this in an open forum in the embassy, in the High Commission of Pakistan. If President Ramaphosa and his cabinet ever withdraws our case from the ICJ, I, Councillor Patel, will resign immediately. I will resign not only as a councillor, I will resign as a member of the African National Congress, because we will never stand on the side of the oppressor. But I have faith in President Ramaphosa that he will not do this. Ladies and gentlemen, in the next 30 days, the G20 will meet in South Africa. President Modi will come. We know he will come. Now, every one of us, how we gathered here today, let us gather at Nazareth. Let us protest at Nazareth. Let us get all the Palestinian solidarity movements. Let us get all the political parties, black and white, that support Palestine, that support Kashmir. Let us march to Nazareth. Let us march against the atrocities of the Indian government and protest Modi's presence at the G20 summit. Are we all ready for that? Yes. My brothers and sisters, I was saying to the High Commissioner before we had this discussion here, until 1994, the Indian community in this country lived fairly in peace amongst each other. Meaning we never in our own communities had a Muslim-Hindu issue. We've never in this country had an issue where Muslims and Hindus had a fight. Actually, when the Hindu temple was bombed, it was the Muslim community who offered to rebuild it. So we lived in peace. But after 1994, something very different has taken place. The Indians that are coming from India are not the Indians that have come to South Africa prior to 1994. The Indians that are coming to South Africa now are part of the Hindu Vata. The Hindu Vata members that support the right-wing Modi and his government. We need to be careful. Members of the EFF, members of the African National Congress, veterans, Al-Jamaa, we need to take this to our parties and we need to say, there's a genocide, xenophobia is one thing, but this is a different type of xenophobia. It's a xenophobia of people from the same country against each other. That's going to bring a problem from the Far East or from the Indian subcontinent to South Africa. I've seen this in my community many a time when Pakistan wins the cricket, or when there's Black Kashmir Day, or we're celebrating 14th of August. We can see the comments coming out of the Hindu community in Lodium. This is not coming out of the locals. This is coming out of the Indian community. This has come in the last 30 years. We need to guard against this. We cannot afford this kind of terrorism to take place in this country. I'm sorry, we can't. Let this be the year we stop whispering and start roaring. Let this be the moment we move from words of justice, from silence to resistance, from rhetoric to real change. Free Kashmir, free Palestine, free humanity. Amandla.
I'd like to take this opportunity to present every revolution has and we were lacking for the Kashmir. Our struggle assembled. And I come out with this beautiful scarf which unite the two Hildan Kawikari, Palestinian occupation in Kashmir. I proudly like to charge you the responsibility of freeing the people of Kashmir. Wear with the proud and make sure both of the causes is represented.
Thank you so much. Now I would like to invite Mr. Imran Musa, member of the South African Parliament, for his remarks.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I know you heard a lot of speeches, but let me re-energize yourselves and invite you with very warm greetings. And let me start with some very, very great words that will help us in our endeavors for activism and for our problems in the world to be solved. Many problems in the world cannot be solved if you don't have God consciousness and faith in the Almighty to help us and assist us. So I begin with asking the Almighty to assist us in this gathering, and also pray that through this gathering we come with some serious resolutions. So I'm going to start with some very, very great words, and it will also be good for us to know that when I say Nare Takbir, we say Allahu Akbar, because we start with A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. We always seek protection from Satan, with Satan, from Shaitan, with Allah from Shaitan. So this is very, very important to understand that our intentions must be very clear, crystal clear of what we want to achieve as humanitarians. So I will start with Nare Takbir. Nare Takbir. Nare Takbir. Amandla. 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 Awetu. Now, why I'm saying these words and why our comrades say these words is just to create that spirit and to keep us going. And that is the reasons our voices must be heard. In order for our voices to be heard, these are the slogans that we learn as we go along, and we must use it. We must use it to our benefit. And let me also, when he says Kashmir, what do we say, Kashmir? Azadi. Kashmir, Azadi. Kashmir, Azadi. Pakistan, yes, I want to see that energies, and it is very heartwarming to see so many of you here today. So let me address His Excellency, Mr. Malik Muhammad Farooq, the High Commissioner of Pakistan, my colleague, comrade, Councillor Naeem Patel, Salman Bhai, Memon Saab, Dr. Mirza, the PASA leaders, Mian Bhai, Wakar Saab, Dr. Ahmed, all organizations and movements, and obviously all honorable guests, including IPSA, Dr. Harun, Dr. Nadeem, and many of you that are here. You are indeed make us extremely very, very proud to see so many of you coming out here today. But let's make this day a memorable one that turns into action. And I'm going to explain how and why we should turn this day into action and why we should do this. Brothers and sisters, honorable guests, respected colleagues, brothers, I must take the honor and pleasure and welcome that it is extremely, indeed, very heartwarming and gives me indeed extreme honor and pleasure to sit here before you today and present our speeches for the simple cause of humanitarian rights. My name is Imran Musa. I'm a member of parliament, as our brother has mentioned earlier. I belong to the International Committee in South Africa, in the Parliament, South African Parliament, and it is equally important that we work together so that we can achieve our goals, to achieve what we want, what we are here for today. So it is obvious from many of the speakers that the 27th of October marks a very painful chapter in the history of South Asia. A day forever remembered by the people of Kashmir as a Black Day. I want to touch on this particular word, Black Day. We'll come to it a little later. For over 7 decades, the people of Kashmir have lived under occupation, their voices silenced, their freedoms denied, and their homes turned into zones of fear and surveillance. Generations have grown up witnessing the constant presence of soldiers, curfews, arbitrary arrest, and countless human rights violations. Yes, despite the oppression, the spirit of the Kashmiri people remains. We must give ourselves a hand of applause. So I want you to clap for yourselves and the people of Kashmir. Let them know that we are standing with them. Their courage, their resilience, and steadfastness in the face of brutality remind the world that freedom cannot be crushed by force. Freedom cannot be crushed by force. Today, as we remember this dark day, we reaffirm our moral, political, and humanitarian support to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. We stand united in calling for an end to all humanitarian rights and abuses, the release of political prisoners, the lifting of communication blackouts and military restrictions, and the implementation of the UN resolutions that guarantee the right of Kashmiris to determine their own destiny through a free and fair plebiscite. Let us remind the world that silence is complicity. Silence is complicity. That is why I commend the Pakistan High Commission for arranging this event. We cannot be silent in the face of challenges and adversity. It is our duties, and hence I am very proud of you today to have come out. It is the first time that I have seen such a large gathering. Well done, High Commissioner, for inviting many of the organizations. So remember, the cries of Kashmiri people must not fall on deaf ears. Every voice here of yourselves speaks up for justice and adds strength to the Kashmiri cause. As humanitarian rights and as defenders of human rights, we must continue to raise awareness, advocate for peace, and pray for the day when Kashmir is free. Inshallah, free from fear, free from occupation, and free to live in dignity and peace and respect. We need to draw parallels between Kashmir and Gaza in that the legal system of the United Nations has not been applied successfully to seriously, immediately resolve crises and issues in Kashmir and Gaza. I'm sure you'll all agree with me that despite the UN resolutions that has taken place 2 years ago, and globally everybody support the cause of genocide, the oppression, etc., the dispossession of land, it is our duties to stand up and ask ourselves, how has the UN resolutions helped us today? Kashmir is still in the same state, Palestine is still in the same state. This is indeed a travesty of justice when the legal system fails us globally with the United Nations. The legal system has faced us because there was no immediate resolvement, no immediate resolution that we could action, that globally would have taken place in such a way that all the monies that were spent by USA and by Israel, that same monies could have been used to create peace in Gaza. But no, what did they choose? They chose to annihilate Gaza, and they're leaving Kashmir to be where it is today. So it is our duties to stand up globally like many of the other countries, not be fearful, and carry on our stance for humanitarian rights. Furthermore, when the legal system fails us, then action and resilience becomes the next course of action. What do we do when globally we are failed legally, when we try all this and we fail? Then the next action we should take into our own hands to ensure that humanitarian rights are preserved. Otherwise, it shall continue. And hence you see the world standing up as it is today. We have given United States of America and we have given the Zionists enough time to sort themselves out, including the Hindu fight in India. Enough time to ensure that the peace talks and dialogues come to an end and have a serious commitment to ensure that there is peace in the world. It seems as if the Zionists and the Hindu fight have ignored legal means of peace. And this is what we see. Let this dark day of ours turn into a light day of action and implementation. That's why I said I'll come back to the dark day. We want this dark day to turn into a light day of action and implementation. And my learned colleague, comrade here has given you some advice as to how we can stand up. When President Modi comes here, what we should do, how we should do, let us do it and let us stand up for humanitarian rights. We need to achieve our objectives in a way that will ensure that every other strategic way to find peace in order to ensure that the rights of self-determination and the right to live is preserved. In this regard, my colleague, Councillor Naeem, I must commend him because every time he comes here, he says, what are we doing? Many a times we come here, we sit here, we have these meetings, but there must be a serious commitment to how we're going to implement and solve the crisis in Kashmir, in Palestine, and many of the countries that suffer under oppression. So, brothers and sisters, we also pray at the same time to ensure that the Almighty gives us, grants us peace to the oppressed, and courage and just and freedom to the people of Kashmir. And with this, when we pray to the Almighty, because we are God-conscious people, and we need the help of the Almighty with prayers and with our efforts to ensure that we shall overcome the struggles that's taking place in Palestine and Kashmir. With those few words, I want to once again say, Nare Takbir! Nare Takbir! Nare Takbir! So for those brothers that don't understand the meaning of Nare Takbir, it means God is the greatest. And we rely and we put our trust and our confidence in God, because we believe in principles and values in our divine books that are all in harmony, whether you're Christian or any other religion. There's simple principles and values, and we should adhere to those principles and values. So again, I say, Pakistan, 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 Amandla, Amandla, Awetu, Kashmir, Kashmir, Kashmir. And with those words, we ask the Almighty to accept our gathering here, and let's put this gathering to make it such that we will be useful and we're able to action while we are here today. Thank you so much. Jazakallah khairan.
Thank you so much, Mr. Imran sir. Now, I would like to invite His Excellency Mr. Malik Muhammad Farooq, Pakistan High Commissioner to South Africa, for the vote of thanks and the concluding remarks.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Mr. Imran Musa, Member of South African Parliament, my dear brother Naeem Patel, distinguished guests, members of different political parties, South Africa, members of my Pakistani organizations, including the doctors. Assalamu alaikum. Let me begin by expressing my deepest gratitude to all our speakers this evening for their insightful, compassionate, and courageous words. Your voices have been echoed the collective conscience of humanity, reminding us that silence in the face of justice is complicity. I'm at the same time grateful to all those my friends, especially lovers of Pakistan, and their support to the right cause of the Kashmiri people, those who sent their video messages, of course, including the member of the South African Parliament, my dear friend, Mr. Imran Subrati, and Mr. Rafiq Shah, for their messages of support, and just telling the people in Kashmir that they are not alone. Their concerns are being equally heard and listened to by the people in South Africa. I also wish to make a moment to warmly acknowledge presence of Mr. Imran. He has always been very kind, and whenever we have requested, he has graced us with his presence. And today is more than symbolic. It represents that South Africa's proud tradition of moral clarity and principled leadership in the global struggle for justice and equality. We have listened to different speeches of our speakers, and everybody has talked about the genesis of the problem or the dispute. And I think the most memorable was, or the mention was given by my brother Saman, and because he himself has been a student of history, and he gave you the very rightful actually what this Flag Day means. Actually, it was on this day in 1947 when, for the first time, the Indian forces invaded the Indian Jammu and Kashmir, which was actually against the wishes of the Kashmiri people. We call it Black Day because it marked the moment when the light of freedom was eclipsed by darkness of oppression. Homes were occupied, families were divided, voices were silenced, yet the spirit of Kashmir has never been broken. This day is not just about commemorating the past, it is also about reminding the world that right to self-determination guaranteed by United Nations Security Council remains unfulfilled. It is a reminder that the struggle of Kashmir is not about geography or politics, it's about human dignity, identity, and justice. And that is actually the thing which brings South African nation more close to this issue, because we know that how South Africa or the people in South Africa has fought with resilience, with determination and perseverance. Even today, the Valley of Kashmir stands under one of the heaviest military occupations in the world. Since the illegal revocation of Jammu and Kashmir special status on 5th of August 2019, India has unleashed a campaign to alter the demography of the region, suppress dissent, and erase its Muslim cultural identity. Entire generations have grown up under curfew and barbed wires, yet their courage, faith, and resilience continue to inspire the world. Earlier this year, one of our speakers also talked about that, how India tried to demonstrate its reckless, action, which was like kind of an act of unprovoked aggression against Pakistan. And Pakistan's response was swift, proportionate, and responsible, showing both our resolve to defend our sovereignty and our commitment to regional stability. And I go with the words of my dear doctor, that in case if there is any new plan or a false flag operation contemplated by India, it will get the right lesson. These irresponsible behavior and provocative statements or the actions coming from the Indian leadership reveal a dangerous mindset, one that seeks to divert international attention from its ongoing atrocities in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, and for the persecution of minorities in India, particularly Muslims, under the Modi's government's Hindutva ideology. And I think my brother Naeem talked about that, and it's true that ever since BJP has come into power, things have totally changed. The way they have been targeting the minorities, especially the Muslims in India. This ideology is built on exclusion, intolerance, and division. Such actions not only threaten Pakistan's security, but also endanger the peace and stability of South Asia as a whole. Being here in South Africa, we draw great inspiration from this nation's own journey, a journey from oppression to freedom, from segregation to reconciliation. South Africa has shown the world that even the mightiest systems of injustice can fall before the moral power of truth. We also commend South Africa's principled and courageous stance on Palestine. Your leadership in taking the issue to the International Court of Justice, your moral conviction, and your willingness to stand firm against occupation and apartheid have given hope to oppressed people everywhere. The struggle of Kashmir and Palestine are deeply interconnected. Both peoples yearn from same things: freedom, dignity, and the right to live without fear in their own home. To South African brothers, voice carries immense moral weight. When South Africa speaks, the world listens. Let me assure you all sitting here, all those who are maybe listening on social media and those who might be out, of course, we know that this is not an issue or a cause of a land or a piece of land. It's a land or a piece of land. It's actually the issue of humanity. But still, finding the time out, joining us, I'm really thankful on behalf of High Commission of Pakistan. I'm really obliged for all of you, especially my South African friends and sisters who are here, and your support here will go a long way. Let me tell you one thing, that the people in Kashmir, those who are fighting for their right to self-determination, they will feel that their agonies or the brutalities being incurred on them are not going in waste. Rather, the world at large or the international community, and when we talk about South Africa, they will know that their brothers and sisters sitting in South Africa feel the pain and the agony the way, from where they are going through. Thank you once again, all of you, and best of luck to all of you. Pakistan, Zindabad. Long live Pakistan, South Africa friendship. South Africa, Zindabad.
Well, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to conclude today's event with dua. For this, I would like to invite Mr. Aurangzeb, or we call him Goga Bhai, so for dua.
Fatiha. Auzubillahi minash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad. या अल्लाह, ये जो सब यहाँ इकट्ठे हुए हैं मौला, इन सब की मदद फरमा। मौला, कश्मीर और फ़लस्तीन के मज़लूम मुसलमानों की मदद फरमा। मौला, उनको आज़ादी अता फरमा। मौला, जो दुश्मन है मौला, उनको हदायत अता फरमा। या अल्लाह, अगर हदायत नहीं तो उनको नेस्त व नाबूद फरमा। मौला, हम सब ने जो यहाँ बातें की हैं मौला, हमने अपनी हैसियत के मुताबिक, अपनी ताकत के मुताबिक की हैं मौला, वो हर चीज़ पर कादिर है मौला। इन मजलूम इंसानों की, मुसलमानों की मदद फरमा। रब्बना तक़ब्बल दुआ व तग़फ़िर इन्नल्लाह व मलाइकतहु युसल्लूना अलन नबी या अय्युहल्लज़ीना आमनू सल्लु अलैहि व सल्लिमू तस्लीमा। अल्लाहुम्मा सल्लि अला सय्यिदिना व मौलाना मुहम्मदिन व अला आलिहि व सहबिहि अजमईन।
Ameen. Thank you so much once again for joining us today, for showing solidarity with the people of Kashmir on the Kashmir Black Day. We have some arrangements for refreshment outside. Thank you once again.
दोस्तों से गुजारिश है कि जो हमारे मेहमान आए हैं इनको खाना डिश आउट करने दी, आप सब लोग थोड़ा सा इंतजार करें। प्लीज, जो मेहमान आए हैं पहले ये खाना डिश आउट।
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम जी, मैं इस वक्त बराह रास्त पाकिस्तानी एम्बेसी के अंदर मौजूद हूँ, जनूबी अफ्रीका के अंदर, जहाँ से आपको मैं लाइव इस तकरीब का हवाला दिखा रहा था। ये कश्मीर ब्लैक डे 27 अक्टूबर को दुनिया भर में मनाया जा रहा है। ये वो दिन है जहाँ जिस दिन भारत ने ज़बरदस्ती इंडिया के ऊपर, कश्मीर के ऊपर शब खून मारा था, और इस ब्लैक डे को दुनिया भर में मनाया जा रहा है। आइए, अभी हमारा एक सेशन शुरू होने वाला है। जो पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी से तल्लुक़ रखने वाले यहाँ पे अफराद मौजूद हैं, इनसे हम ख़ुसूसी बात करेंगे और इनका पैगाम भी आप तक पहुँचाएंगे। आइए चलते हैं। लाइव चल रहा है तो
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। आज माशाल्लाह पाकिस्तान एम्बेसी में ब्लैक डे मनाया गया कश्मीर के बारे में, जिसमें माशाल्लाह यहाँ के लोकल कम्युनिटी, पॉलिटिकल पीपल, एम्बेसी के लोग, पाकिस्तान एसोसिएशंस और जो नुमाइंदा हैं पाकिस्तान के और साउथ अफ्रीका के, सब लोग यहाँ पे आए और उन्होंने आके अपने अपने हिसाब से जो बात करनी थी की, जिससे हम इंशाअल्लाह ताला पाकिस्तान को और कश्मीर के लोगों को इंशाअल्लाह ताला आने वाले वक्त में बहुत ज़्यादा फ़ायदा होगा। इससे एक बात ये हुई, हमारी जो जितने भी लोग यहाँ पे आए हैं उन्होंने सॉलिडरिटी दिखाई कि कश्मीर के साथ, कि कश्मीर अकेला नहीं है, हम कश्मीर के लोगों के साथ खड़े हैं और उनके साथ हर तरफ से उनकी मदद करेंगे। उनके शाना बिशाना है, कश्मीर वाले कभी अपने आप को अकेला मत समझे और इंशाअल्लाह ताला हम उनके साथ हैं। हम सब जो पाकिस्तान साउथ के में रहते हैं सब मिल के इंशाअल्लाह ताला इसके बारे में लाहम इंतजार करेंगे, और हम जो है कश्मीर के बारे में जो ब्लैक डे है आज इंशाअल्लाह ताला, इसके बारे में इसको वाइट डे करेंगे, इसको ब्राइट डे करेंगे इंशाअल्लाह। जज़ाकल्लाह जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
जी, अभी आपने लियाकत जट साहब की बातें सुनी, तो मज़ीद इसके अलावा हम चलते हैं कुछ और दोस्तों के साथ बात करने की कोशिश करते हैं। यहाँ पे हमारे साथ सदर आज़ाद कश्मीर के मशीर बराए ओवरसीज पाकिस्तानी चौधरी हक नवाज हैं। आइए इनसे इनका मौक़िफ़ जानते हैं। जी चौधरी हक नवाज साहब बताएं, हमारे ऑडियंस आपको देख रहे हैं, लाइव चल रहा है ये।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। सबसे पहले जी आज का प्रोग्राम बिल्कुल डिफरेंट था। काफ़ी कम्युनिटी जो है वो साउथ अफ्रीका की लोकल आई हुई थी। आज का प्रोग्राम जो है उसके साथ ये है कि आज अच्छा प्रोग्राम जो है वो दुनिया में पहुँचाया गया है। तो मैं मीडिया वालों का बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ, क्योंकि मीडिया के ज़रिए ये प्रोग्राम जो है वो पूरी वर्ल्ड में जा रहा है। मैं बहुत थैंकफुल हूँ। अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
जी ये थे चौधरी हक नवाज जो कि अपने ख्याल का इजहार कर रहे थे। आइए हम चलते हैं, हमारे सामने यहाँ में मौजूद हैं सीनियर सहाफ़ी हैं शाह चौहान साहब, इनसे बात करते हैं, इनका मौक़िफ़ लेते हैं। जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम चौहान साहब।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम जनाब।
जी आप दिन के हवाले से अपना मौक़िफ़ बयान करें जनाब।
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। आज 27 अक्टूबर कश्मीर ब्लैक डे है और यहाँ अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह एम्बेसी के अंदर हर साल की तरह इस दफ़ा भी बड़ा भरपूर तरीके से कश्मीरियों के साथ इज़हार यकजहती किया गया। इस दिन की मुनासिबत से मैं एज ए प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंटरनेशनल एसोसिएशन ऑफ पाकिस्तानी जर्नलिस्ट ये पैगाम दूंगा कि कश्मीरियों के साथ जो जुल्म और सितम जारी है पिछले 70 साल से ज़्यादा का अरसा हो गया है, और उन लोगों ने जो कुर्बानियाँ दी हैं अपनी आज़ादी के लिए, हम उनकी कुर्बानियों को काउंट करते हैं, उनकी कुर्बानियों को सराहते हैं और उसके अंदर इंशाल्लाह और उनके लिए दुआ गो हैं कि एक दिन वो दिन आने वाला है जब उनको वो आज़ादी से रहेंगे और दुनिया के जो दूसरे सिटीज़न हैं, पूरी दुनिया के दूसरी अक़वाम हैं, उनकी तरह उनको भी उनके हकूक़ मिलेंगे। और इस सिलसिले में एज ए पाकिस्तानी हम हर मौके पर अपने कश्मीरी बहन भाइयों के साथ हैं, उनके साथ थे, साथ हैं और साथ रहेंगे जब तक उनको आज़ादी नहीं मिल जाती। इंशाअल्लाह ताला वो दिन दूर नहीं है जब कश्मीरियों को आज़ादी मिलेगी और आज हम उनके साथ भरपूर इज़हार यकजहती करते हैं। मेरे बहन भाइयों, आप फिक्र नहीं करो, इंशाअल्लाह वो सूरज जल्द तुलू होने वाला है जब आप भी दूसरी कौमों की तरह आज़ाद होंगे। ठीक हो गया
जी। अभी हम एम्बेसी के बाहर आपको हालात दिखाते हैं जहाँ पे के लिए खाने का इंतज़ाम किया गया है और यहाँ पे लोकल सिविल सोसाइटी के लोग जो हैं वो भी मौजूद हैं और पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी की भरपूर है इस प्रोग्राम के अंदर। ये जी मूसा हैं, मेंबर पार्लियामेंट है साउथ अफ्रीका में और इनके साथ नईम पटेल है। तो देन वी टॉक आवर व्यूअर। यहाँ से हम जी कोशिश करेंगे जी हमारे सोशल वेल